Hi, boys and girls. It's Miss Kelly again, and today we are going to be reading about Native Americans of the Plateau Region. So today you're going to need your social studies textbook. We are on page 33 today, page 33. Looks just like that. And you're going to need your chapter 3 packet, okay? The Plateau Cultural Region lay between the Cascade and Rocky Mountains. This region included parts of the northwestern states and British Columbia. It featured flatlands, rolling hills, and steep gorges. Like the Southwest, rainfall was light. Summers were hot, but winters were very cold. However, the plateau had plenty of water provided by the large Columbia and Fraser rivers. Many tribes, such as the Nez Perce, Spokane, and Yakima, lived in the Plateau region. Various types of plants and animals survived on the plateau. Forests grew near the mountains. Other areas had only thick grasses, berries, or camas, a type of lily. The camas root was an important food for people on the plateau since few animals lived there. Some deer and bear roamed the forests. Jackrabbits made their homes in drier sections. Yakima artifacts show the culture that developed as people adapted to the harsh climate and available resources. For instance, the Yakima built their winter homes partially underground to protect themselves from the cold. Each house was a 3-foot deep circular hole with a grass mat roof. To help keep heat inside, the Yakima covered the mat with earth. Yakima women also wove local grasses into distinctive clothing such as basket hats. These hats were cone-shaped but flat on top, and they were decorated with designs. To harvest camas and other roots, the Yakima developed a digging stick. They used a hardwood stick that was curved and pointed at the end. They attached a short handle of animal horn to the stick. Women pushed the digging stick under a root and then lifted it out of the ground. And I just want to draw your attention to two things. The picture up here, okay, has a caption. It says, large rivers provided water and salmon for the dry plateau region. And then here it tells us what the word gorge means. If we're not sure what the word gorge means, there it is, a narrow, deep valley with steep sides. Okay, so now I'm going to go into this Google Slides, and we're going to just take a closer look at the Plateau region. So the Plateau region is sort of inland from the northwest coast, okay, it's up here. And the tribes here included the Nez Perce, the Spokane, the Yakima, and the Flathead tribes. Those are some of the tribes that lived in this region. Fish was the most important food source for the Plateau Indians. The rivers were abundant in salmon, trout, eels, and other fish. The Native Americans dried the fish to preserve them for the winter food supply. They also hunted deer, elk, bear, caribou, and small game. Houses were of two main types, the pit house and the mat-covered surface house. Pit houses were circular and had a deep pit in the center. The smoke hole in the top was also the entrance to the house. In the southern plateau, the pit house was eventually replaced by the mat-covered surface house. These homes were formed by poles that leaned together and were covered by grass or reed mats. So here's that pit house, right? And there's the smoke hole that they would use, and there's the ladder, and they would light their fire, and then the smoke could go up and out of the hole, and that kept them warm inside the pit house. Okay, I have a video here, and this is a video about Chief Joseph, who was the chief of the Nez Perce tribe, and you'll find out some interesting facts about him, and I hope you enjoy.
today's episode, we're going to learn about Nez Perce Native American chief, Chief Joseph. Chief Joseph's name literally means in the Nimipu language, thunder rolling down the mountain. As a child, Joseph rode horses, hunted, and fished in the beautiful land in which he grew up. Chief Joseph was born in the Wallowa Valley in present-day Idaho on March the 3rd of 1840. Chief Joseph would ascend to the leadership of his tribe, the Nez Perce. By 1877, Chief Joseph had to lead his Nez Perce tribe in a journey to cross the Canadian border. Chief Joseph had to face the unfortunate reality that he was going to be forced to give up his land in the Wallowa Valley to American settlers, and he decided that he wanted justice, and they were not going to take it from the United States government. He had to make a decision. Was he going to fight, or was he going to leave? Chief Joseph, in his wisdom, knew his small tribe of 800 people and approximately 200 warriors were no match for the United States Army. In order to save his people, he began what is known as a retreat. He hoped to make it to Canada, where he would meet up with the Sioux Native American tribe. The retreat that Chief Joseph and the Nez Perce Native Americans undertook is known as the Nez Perce War. It is often considered one of the most masterful retreats in military history. With over the approximately 200 warriors, Chief Joseph managed to take his people 1,400 miles to safety. However, he inevitably ran out of food, blankets, and many of his warriors had been killed in his tribe. He was nearly to the Canadian border when he was forced to surrender on October the 5th of 1877. Chief Joseph achieved great acclaim in the latter half of his life. Not even his standing among the white people in the early United States could help his people return to their homeland in the Pacific Northwest. Following his surrender, Chief Joseph and his people were escorted first to Kansas and then to what is now known as Oklahoma. Chief Joseph spent the next several years pleading his people's case. He even met with the President of the United States at the time, Rutherford B. Hayes, in 1879. Finally, in 1885, Chief Joseph and others were allowed to return to the Pacific Northwest, but it wasn't the right and perfect solution. Many of his people had already died, either from war or disease, and the Nez Perce home was still miles from their true homeland in the Wallowa Valley. Chief Joseph did not live to see the land that he had known as a child and as a young warrior. He died on September 21st of 1904 and was buried in the Colville Indian Cemetery on the Colville Reservation in the state of Washington. From where the sun now stands, I will fight no more, forever. Chief Joseph. Thank you so much for watching. This has been a Bowtie Guy in White production. Feel free to check out our Teachers Pay Teacher Store. Follow us on Instagram, like us on Facebook, and check out our Pinterest page. Head on over to our YouTube channel.
I hope you enjoyed that little introduction to Chief Joseph of the Nez Perce. And if you look under today's assignment, you'll see the pages in your Chapter 3 packet that you're going to do today. And I will see you next time.